My name is Elena, and I'm 39 years old. I never imagined I'd be the kind of woman who tells a story like this, but life doesn't always ask for permission before it breaks you. I met my husband, Mark, when I was 24. He was charming in a way that made everyone around him feel special. And back then, I thought that was a good thing. We got married 2 years later, and for a long time, I believed we were happy. Or maybe I just wanted to believe it so badly that I ignored everything else. The first time I felt something was wrong was on our 10th anniversary. He forgot. He came home late, smelling like a woman's perfume I didn't wear. When I asked him where he'd been, he said work ran late and hugged me like he was trying to hide inside my forgiveness. I let it go. I told myself I was being dramatic. Months passed, but his phone became something he guarded like a secret. He turned away when he texted, he showered as soon as he got home, his smile stopped reaching his eyes when he looked at me. One afternoon, I found a lipstick mark on his shirt. Not my shade. Not by accident. When I showed it to him, he laughed and said, "You're overthinking again." Like my heart was just a joke he'd already heard. I wish I could say I left right then, but love doesn't disappear the moment trust does. I tried harder. I cooked his favorite meals, dressed the way he used to like, pretended not to notice the lies lining every word he spoke. I thought if I was better, he would come back to me. But cheaters don't come back. They just hide better. The night everything changed, he slipped and said another woman's name while talking to me. Not quietly, not accidentally. My name is Elena, and he called me Melissa. He froze. I didn't. For the first time in years, I felt something stronger than fear. Clarity. I didn't scream, and I didn't cry. I just stood up, walked to our bedroom, and packed a bag. He followed me down the hallway, saying things like, "Wait, it's not what you think," and "Can we talk about this?" But it was exactly what I thought. And no, we couldn't. I left the house that night with a single suitcase and a heart full of silence. I slept on my sister's couch for the first week, and every morning I woke up expecting regret to strangle me. It never came. What came instead was peace, slow, quiet, and unfamiliar. I started walking in the mornings. I started eating at the table instead of the couch. I started breathing like my lungs were mine again. It's been 8 months now. I have my own place. I rearranged the furniture 3 times before it felt like home. Some nights, I remember the way he used to look at me, and it still hurts. But now the hurt doesn't own me. If you've ever loved someone who lied to you, you know the kind of pain that doesn't show on your skin. But leaving him didn't break me. Staying did. People think the hardest part is walking out. It's not. The hardest part is waking up the next morning and realizing you don't know who you are without the person who broke you. The first time I went grocery shopping alone, I stood in the cereal aisle for 10 minutes because I didn't know what I liked anymore. I had spent years buying his favorites, cooking his meals, living a life shaped around his comfort. I didn't even realize I'd disappeared somewhere along the way. One day, my sister asked me, "What makes you happy now?" I opened my mouth to answer and nothing came out. The silence scared me more than his betrayal. So I started small. I bought a plant I was sure I'd kill within a week. I painted my nails a color he once said didn't suit me. I went to a cafe alone and sat by the window without pretending to check my phone. And somewhere in between burnt toast and late-night tears, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in years. Myself. One afternoon, I got a message from him. Just 5 words. "Can we talk? I miss you." For a moment, That old ache returned, the one that whispers, maybe he's changed. Maybe he means it this time. But then I remembered all the nights I cried quietly so he wouldn't be annoyed. All the lies he told with steady eyes. All the times I apologized for things I didn't do. I typed back, "No, please don't contact me again." I didn't send it out of anger. I sent it out of healing. That night, I sat on my balcony with a cheap blanket and a cup of tea, watching the streetlights flicker on one by one. The world felt different. Not kinder, but clearer. I wasn't waiting for someone to choose me anymore. I was choosing myself. You don't realize how heavy someone was until you stop carrying them. And the beautiful thing about starting over, you get to decide who you are this time. A few weeks later, I signed up for a pottery class. Not because I had some secret passion for clay, but because I wanted to try something that had nothing to do with him. On the first day, the instructor asked everyone to introduce themselves and share why they joined. When it was my turn, I just said, I wanted to make something with my own hands. Not fix something, not hold something together, not earn someone's love. Just make something. My first bowl came out crooked and uneven, and I loved it more than anything I owned in that marriage. People assume healing is loud and dramatic, like cutting your hair or booking a one-way ticket somewhere far. But for me, healing was quiet. It was learning how to look in the mirror without seeing someone who wasn't enough. One Saturday morning, I went to the farmer's market. There was a little booth selling used books, and I found a worn-out copy of a novel I loved as a teenager. I bought it for $2 and read it that night, curled up in bed with the lamp on. I didn't realize how long it had been since I read something just because I wanted to. I blocked his number after he messaged me a second time. Not out of spite, out of self-respect. The kind I didn't know I was allowed to have before. A few people asked me if I was afraid of being alone. I told them the truth. I was more afraid of staying with someone who made me feel alone while standing right next to me. One evening, I found our old wedding album while unpacking a box. I sat on the floor and flipped through the pictures. There I was, smiling so wide my cheeks were practically shaking. And there he was, looking at me like I was the prize he'd already won. I closed the album, took a deep breath, and put it in a donation box. Not to forget the past, but to stop living in it. I still have moments when the loneliness walks in without knocking. But now it sits beside me instead of swallowing me. I make it a cup of tea and remind it we're not desperate anymore. Some nights I light a candle, put on soft music, and write in a journal. The first page says, "This time, I choose me." And for the first time in years, I believe it. A few days ago, something small happened that meant everything. I was cleaning out the top shelf of my closet when I found an old box filled with things from our early years. Movie tickets, birthday cards, and a photo of us at the beach. In the past, seeing that would have shattered me. This time, I just looked at it and felt distance. Like I was remembering a movie I once watched, not a life I lived. I didn't cry, I didn't smile. I just knew I wasn't that woman anymore. I've started talking to myself differently too. I don't say things like, I should have known or I wasn't enough. Now I say, I survived what was meant to break me and I'm learning how to breathe without permission. Last week, I went out to dinner alone for the first time in my life. The hostess asked, "Table for two?" And I said, "No, just me." Not just like an apology, just me, like a fact I'm finally okay with. I ordered what I liked, I didn't rush, I didn't pretend to check messages so I didn't look lonely. I watched people walk by and felt something new. Freedom that didn't scare me. I think the moment I knew I'd really changed was when I stopped asking, why did he do that to me? And started asking, why did I keep forgiving him? Pain changes when you stop chasing explanations and start choosing boundaries. A woman I met in pottery class told me, "You seem lighter now." I didn't realize it until she said it, but she's right. Heartbreak didn't destroy me, it emptied my hands so I could carry something better. I don't know what the rest of my life will look like. I'm not rushing to fill the silence with another person. I'm not searching for someone to prove I'm lovable. I'm learning how to love myself in ways no one ever taught me. And maybe one day I'll meet someone who sees me clearly. But if I don't, I'll still have myself. And she's finally worth staying for. A few mornings ago, I stood in front of the mirror and really looked at myself. Not to fix my hair or check my makeup, just to see the woman standing there. For years, I saw a version of me shaped by someone else's needs. Now, I see someone who walked through fire and didn't let it turn her into ash. I've started doing things I used to tell myself I didn't have time for. I take evening walks with no destination. I listen to music I loved before my life revolved around someone else's moods. I even bought myself a small silver ring, not as a gift from anyone, but as a reminder that I belong to me first. Sometimes I think about the woman I used to be, the one who was afraid to speak up, who accepted half love and called it devotion. I don't hate her. I just wish she knew what I know now. Staying with the wrong person hurts more than leaving them ever could. Not long ago, I ran into an old friend who didn't know about the breakup. She asked, "So, how are you two?" And for the first time, the answer didn't sting. I just said, "We're not anything anymore, and I'm okay." She looked surprised. I don't think she expected peace to be part of this story. I used to believe love meant holding on. Now I know that sometimes the deepest kind of love is letting go of what wounds you. And maybe the most powerful sentence a woman can ever say is, "I'm not going back." I don't wake up with a knot in my stomach anymore. I don't check my phone hoping for apologies that never meant anything. I don't walk around feeling like I'm too much or not enough. I just exist, without shrinking, without begging, without pretending. Healing didn't come in one moment. It came in pieces. A quiet morning, an unanswered message, a meal alone without shame, a night without tears. It came when I stopped waiting for closure from someone who only gave me chaos. One day, I realized something simple but life-changing. He didn't break me. I broke free. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not waiting for karma or explanations. I'm just done carrying what was never mine to hold. If you're listening to this and you've been where I've been, if you've loved someone who lied to you, used you, or made you feel invisible, please hear me when I say this. You don't have to stay. You don't have to prove your worth to someone who can't see it. You don't have to keep setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Leaving isn't failure. Sometimes it's the first breath of your new life. If this story touched your heart, stay with us for more stories just like this. Stories of pain, strength, healing, and starting over. You're not alone, and your story matters too. Subscribe, follow, or stick around, and let's keep walking this road together.